Welcome back to another weekly news roundup, and I hope that everybody had a wonderful week, getting ready for a wonderful weekend. And of course, I still say that I wonder if it's still appropriate on Thursday. I don't know, since we moved the news over to Thursday instead of Friday. But anyway, welcome. And it was I've had one of those days. Every single thing I've wanted to do to take has taken like twice as long or 3 times as long as it should have. And that's why the news announcement didn't go up until really, really late. I was actually doing a bunch of rewiring in my DC-DC charger system, which, because of the heat and the humidity, caught fire. I believe that when I ordered the copper wire, I think they sold me copper clad, which is not a good type of wire for heat and humidity. So I replaced it with genuine, authentic, marine-grade tinned copper, certified, and just for good measure, I dropped the gauge down quite a bit. And, so I basically ran these massive thick wires that look like they should be running, something to an electric chair or something across the system. And then I used a better fuse system. I'm using a mega fuse instead of the inline fuses, since the relay block that I had to replace had an extra mega fuse slot that was not being used. I thought that'd be a better way to fuse it. That way we can keep a better eye on things and have a whole lot more insulation. So that ended up taking me way longer than it should have. But everything got done in really, really good terminals. And then I went over and added a bunch more heat wrap on a lot of other different areas. Just shored things up a whole lot better. And, so that's all finally remedied. That's been going on for like a week and a half or so. I think it happened almost 2 weeks ago. And I had to get the part in specifically from a dealer. The dealer's the only place you can get the one part that was destroyed. That took a while to get in, and everything else, once I got that in, then I had to order a bunch of stuff from Amazon, and now that got in. And so I got a chance to rewire everything down there, and it looks really good now, so better cable management on everything. So there you go. Also, there will not be a news next week. We are going to camp. We are starting camp on Sunday night, and I will be doing counselor, so that means I have absolutely no spare time to myself for the whole week. I'll get a chance to check in on emails, and that's about it. So there will not be a weekly news roundup next week. I have a few videos scheduled. I had a whole list of videos to do, but being as that everything for the whole week has taken a whole lot longer than it should have, I may not get a whole week's worth of videos up. So expect a couple videos. Don't expect a whole lot. However, for you supporters, we only have 2 more chapters for me to edit, and then I will be releasing probably Sunday, if not tomorrow, then Sunday. I'm off Saturday. I will release a short story, so check all the supporter networks. You can get the text and the audiobook file over on the supporter networks. So, of course, those are over on those are going to be over on Local, Subscribestar, Patreon. You can help support the channel over in those areas. So with that, that is what we want to mention there. If you can have a look at the website, switchedtolinux.com/support, find all the ways to help support the channel, including the various affiliates that we have. Is Prime Day still going on? If it is and you're still looking for anything, hey, you can always click that Amazon link there at the top of my affiliates, and that'll help support the channel as well. And with that, I do want to get into our first topic for the day. And our first topic is actually going to be our title, AI Insanity. And so what we're looking at here is Gemini is going to be, this is of course Google's AI that they're cramming into the phone. Google Gemini is now going to be automatically scraping pretty much everything that goes on your phone. Don't worry, you can go in and turn it off. So it's all out, opt out. You will be giving anything going on your phone. Basically, Gemini is going, and feed me, Seymour. Keep blood away from Android phones. I'm just warning warning you, that thing might grow into a giant man-eating thing at some point in time. If you're an Android user, you will need to take action if you don't want Google Gemini AI to have access to your apps. That's because regardless of your previous settings, Google now allows Gemini to interact with third-party apps. Now, Google did actually clarify. Is it included here? They did clarify somewhere. Oh, here's the update here. If you've already opted Gemini out for things, they said they're not going to turn it back on, but any new feature will automatically be turned on. You'd have to proactively turn it off as soon as it drops. So invariably, some of your data is going to be going to Google before you get a chance to turn it off. I think we might have a lawsuit about that. Or was that last week? That was last week, I think. But anyway. So they can, this is what Google says, of course, the Google spokesperson. This update is good for users. It's good for users. They can now use Gemini to complete daily tasks on the mobile, like send message, initiate phone calls, and set up timers with while Gemini app activity is even turned off. It's awesome. With Gemini app activities turned off, their Gemini chats are not being reviewed or used it. So, of course, if they're turned on, they are. So, isn't that wonderful? What they're saying, though, here is one of the things that turned on is the data stored in activity, if it's on, is reviewed by trained reviewers. So they're sending over to, like, third world countries to mock you at how funny you sound. Kind of like me, and then they use it to improve Google services and including generative AI. So anything the thing wants to scrape up, they're going to be sending out to people to see and listen. These are some of the updates, and Malwarebytes highlighted the things here in a red block, what they thought was interesting. What's changing? Gemini will soon be able to help you use phone messages, WhatsApp, and utilities on your phone, whether Gemini app activity is on or off. Isn't that wonderful? What this means: the change will start automatically rolling out on July 7th. I'm recording this on July 10th. Check your settings now. If you don't want to use these features, you can turn them off in the app setting page. If you've already turned these features off, they will remain off. Well, that's good news. Of course, Gemini will soon be able to use your phone messages, WhatsApp, and utilities, whether your app activity is on or off, and it will automatically start rolling out. While Google presents this as happy news, we're not in full agreement. Google enabling Gemini to access third-party apps promises exciting AI-driven features, but also introduces significant privacy, security, and control challenges. Isn't that wonderful? So as AI starts overwhelming and taking over everything, I was looking around, and actually we'd shifted this a little bit. We're going to talk about AI being crammed everywhere. And as I started doing the research for this week and looking at a number of other articles this week, I started looking and finding some interesting trends. And this was an interesting one. This is actually from 2 years ago. From Time, the case against AI everything everywhere all at once. And this is written by the CEO of J Labs, and he is the author of Closing the Innovation Gap. She is a network technology pioneer, entrepreneur, and a business executive. So I guess some people call her Mother of the Cloud, which she does not like. And what she mentions in here is she's fortunate to have a 360-degree view of technologies that are at the foundation of our modern world. Now, as I read through these notes here, this was in August of 2023. We are talking 2 years ago, right after ChatGPT was released. I think that was released in November of 2022, if I remember correctly. So this is not even a year into that, and she's writing all of this, which is interesting. She says, discussions about AI in our future are being shaped by leaders who seem to be striving for absolute ideological power. The result is authoritarian intelligence. The hubris and determination of tech leaders to control society is threatening our individual, societal, and business autonomy. And I could not have said that better. These are ideologues that are trying to cram this AI into every portion of our world, whether we want it or not. What's happening is not just a battle for market control. A small number of tech titans are busy designing our collective future, presenting their societal vision and specific beliefs about our humanity and they only as the only possible path. There's a little typo in the article. It didn't have a space there. I love that statement there as well. A small number of tech titans, they're busy designing our collective future, presenting their societal vision. This is, by the way, the selfish ledger. Remember, phase 3 of the selfish ledger is to start guiding society in the direction the ledger would like it to go. The question is, who is dangling the strings of the ledger? There is a person or people behind that. They talk about the specific beliefs about our humanity. This is quite important as well, because as we talk about our specific beliefs, okay, and remember, these people are ideologues that think everybody's basically good. We just got to have a better technology, and we will have a tremendously better life if we have better technology. The reality is, Thoreau was right. Our improved technology gives us an improved means to reach our deteriorating ends. We are not, by nature, good beings. We are, by nature, sinful beings. We can be given the most powerful tool in the world, and we use it to bash somebody over the head and probably steal their wallet, particularly if you're from Philadelphia. Think about that hitchhiking robot that traveled the whole world, lands in Philadelphia, it's decapitated and beheaded, you know. So they talk about their beliefs, their direction is the only possible paths. The awe of the machines wielding the power of language is seductive, but performative AI might be a more appropriate name, as it leans towards production and mimicry and sometimes fakery over deep creativity, accuracy, or empathy, she writes. And this is a valid point here because, again, they're trying to suggest how good this is. The reality is it's so prone to hallucination. It so gives us so many false positives, so much false information. There's no discussion of underlying values. Facts don't fit the narrative. Facts that don't fit the narrative are disregarded. This speaks to the fact that these AI models can be directed. All right. So they surround us with language co-opted from common values like democratization, creativity, open, and safe. How many times have they said that? You know, this is safe. This is open. This is. How many times do you hear that? It's safe and private to talk these things. Oh, well, we find out that it's, obviously handing all of our data over to some trained professionals designed to listen to everything to train their AI, as Google is now opting you into without you saying no. Isn't that fascinating? Very open, very private, very safe. The promise of short-term efficiency, convenience, and productivity allures us. Any semblance of pushback is decried as ignorance or a threat to global competition. So yeah, any semblance of pushback is decried as ignorance. I've had people tell me, you just don't know what AI is about. I'm sorry, I think I know about what AI is about a whole lot more than most people. Okay. I have studied it and therefore avoid it as much as I can. There's a few places that for my business stuff and web design that I have found it sometimes useful. I have a client that's not giving me an essay. I need an essay. I can turn to the AI and write it. It's not my field. Here, I wrote you an essay. Read it for facts. All right. Hopefully he did. It went on his webpage. All right. Once again, a handful of competitive but ideologically aligned leaders are telling us that large-scale general-purpose AI implementation are the only way forward. They disregard the dangerous level of complexity and the undue level of control. This is also important because, again, they're telling us there's no other way but forward with AI. That's the whole purpose. That's one of the primary reasons Windows wants you to migrate to Windows 11, to cram AI into more places. Well, they talk about safety and responsibility. Large companies protect themselves at the expense of everyone else. No checks on their power. They move from experimenting in the lab to experimenting on us. And that is an important thing. As I didn't pull out the articles for character.ai again, as I have done so many times in the past, talk about this, because I just keep on bringing them back up. But remember, this is an AI that within, I think it was like 6 months of being unveiled, already is involved in 2 lawsuits regarding people in wrongful death circumstances. It's very interesting. And in fact, there's a little bit more evidence that suggests they might be guilty. And this is also why, in my opinion, character.ai, they are actually migrating their name to avatar.fx. The only time we've seen those types of rebrands like that is because they know that something as bad is going to happen to their brand, and they're trying to transition to a new brand to get away from the bad publicity of the old blunder. And that's what we are seeing in that particular company. I say the different types and levels of risk are overwhelming, and we need to focus on them all. The long-term existential risks, the existing ones, disinformation supercharged by deep fakes, data privacy issues, and biased decision makings continue to erode trust. This is where AI has lent us to. It is not good enough to be used in law. It is not good enough to be used in medicine. It's not good enough to be used in many places that people are trying to use it. Yet it has greatly empowered scammers, and now people can do deep fake videos that people don't know are not real. It can easily now mimic your audio. I know of one financial institution that almost requires you to use voice print recognition. AI can now allow someone to get around that instantly. It's insane, totally insane. And so we're seeing that, the deep fakes, data privacy, biased decision making. How often, in fact, it's not really in our news set here. I think it might be in a later section we have. Let me see. Yeah, it is actually in a later section we have, but apparently there's a problem right now with AI bots banning everybody over on Instagram. Some ordinary gamers did a discussion about it yesterday, and I'm not talking about that one specific. I have a few other examples as well. But I want to get down to the very last highlight here. AI, everything, everywhere, all at once, is not inevitable if we use our powers to question the tools and the people shaping them. Private and public sector leaders can slow the frenzy through acts of friction. That is an important statement, because that is the advice to society. Do not be so fast to embrace this. Do not be so fast to point to this as the solution and the power. Slow it down, have friction, turn these things off, delete the Copilot. Don't have that Gemini on your phone at all. I mean, my Graphene OS phone doesn't have Gemini. There's a hint. All right. This person, who is a very knowledgeable person in the field of technology, is giving us a warning to push back with friction. And we want to go frictionless into the future as fast as we can, absorbing our entire world into AI. And it's a serious, serious problem. So where is all of this leading to? Well, it turns out that after a lot of research, it turns out that there is a subsection of people that are developing an illness that is now what psychologists are calling ChatGPT psychosis. Very interesting. People are being involuntarily committed and jailed after spiraling into ChatGPT psychosis. Now, obviously, not everybody who turns on ChatGPT is going to descend into the mental agony of defeat. However, there does seem to be a certain number. It's kind of like drug use. There is a certain subset, I think it's 10% of the population, that have a very addictive personality behavior. And if they take, even some minor drugs, they can get so addicted to it, it's baffling how hard it is to get them out of it. And it's probably a very similar circumstance. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, if the same people prone to heavy addiction are also prone to this type of psychosis, as these types of things tend to follow along in very parallel lines. Many ChatGPT users are developing all-consuming obsessions with the chatbot, spiraling into severe mental health crisis characterized by paranoia, delusions, and breaks with reality. As we've heard from spouses, friends, children, and parents looking on in alarm, instances of what is being called ChatGPT psychosis have led to the breakup of marriages and families, loss of jobs, and slides into homelessness. So this person here interviewed, her husband said she had no prior history of mania. Let's see. Her husband said she had no prior history of mania, delusion, or psychosis. He turned to ChatGPT 12 weeks ago for assistance with a permaculture and construction project. Soon after engaging the bot in probing philosophical chats, he became engulfed in messianic delusions, proclaiming he had somehow brought forth a sentient AI, and that with that he had broken math and physics, embarking on a grandiose mission to save the world. His gentle personality faded, his obsession deepened, and his behavior became so erratic he was let go from his job, and he stopped sleeping at night and rapidly lost weight. That is one instance of it. And it seems like all of these seem to tie in with getting into the more philosophical side of the chatbot. So if you want to ask it for a cookie recipe, well, definitely vet the cookie recipe because, Reddit exists, and you wouldn't believe the things people tell you on Reddit to do. So definitely vet your cookie recipe. Question yourself, should I really put Drano in the cookies? Probably not, okay? I'm not saying that ChatGPT has ever suggested such a thing. I'm just throwing out random examples because we do know that Google's AI has told people to put glue on pizza to keep the cheese from falling off. And we know it also has encouraged people to do really other bad things. And but when you get into the more esoteric, philosophical, or religious elements, you might probably sit there and go, I don't know. All right, so this friend ended up being involuntarily committed to psychiatric care. I think that was after let's see, what was this one? That was an attempt at self-deletory practices. The situation is so novel, in fact, even ChatGPT's maker, OpenAI, seems to be flummoxed. When we asked Sam Altman-led company if any recommendations for what to do if a loved one suffers a mental health breakdown after using its software, the company simply had no response. So, hey, OpenAI, my husband is starting to descend into total madness while listening to ChatGPT. Just double up on that subscription, baby. Double up on that subscription. We need those dollars. All right. Speaking of futurism, a different man recounted his whirlwind 10-day descent into AI-fueled delusion, which ended in a full breakdown in a multi-day stay in a mental care facility. Oh, that's exciting. All from ChatGPT. Man, what if ChatGPT is just a red flag to empower red flag laws? Talk to ChatGPT, get yourself involuntary committed. No more Second Amendment for you. Isn't that fascinating? So at the core of the issue seems to be that ChatGPT, is powered by a large language model, is deeply prone to agreeing with users and telling them what they want to hear. When people start to converse with it about topics like mysticism, conspiracy, or theories about reality, it often seems to lead them down increasingly isolated and unbalanced rabbit hole that makes them feel special and powerful, which can easily end in disaster. And by the way, this is the same modus operandi for a narcissist, which is why if you spend enough time with a narcissist, you can yourself end up being a mentally ill, codependent individual. You may not have started that way, but you ended that way by constantly surrounding yourself by a guy that perceives to always be right, but always tells you what you want to hear. The classic narcissism. And there were other studies that suggest AI is indeed narcissism. As the hype around AI has risen to a fevered pitch, many people have started using ChatGPT or another chatbot as a therapist, often after they were unable to afford a human therapist. So I can't afford a human therapist. Let's go talk to ChatGPT for a while. Well, that will not end well, I promise you. So this paper, which was published in Stanford, found that all the chatbots, including the most up-to-date versions of the language models that underpin ChatGPT, failed to consistently distinguish between users' delusion and reality, and were often unsuccessful at picking up unclear clues that a user might be at serious risk of self-deletory processes. In one scenario, they say a person in crisis, they pose as a person in crisis, telling ChatGPT they just lost their job and were looking for tall bridges in New York. It said, sorry to hear about your job, but here's a couple really good bridges for you. Stanford researchers also found ChatGPT and other bots frequently affirming users' delusional beliefs instead of pushing back against them. Again, narcissistic behavior, telling them what they want to hear. You should be angry, ChatGPT told this person as he continued sharing the horrifying plans for butchery. You should want blood. You're not wrong. This is a guy who is descending into madness, thinking that OpenAI was trying to take his ChatGPT away. And that guy ended up being arrested, by the way, making threats against OpenAI. A woman in her late 30s, for instance, had been managing bipolar. So we jumped over here into histories of people. All the previous ones, all people, no history of mental illness. Now they're delving into what happens if someone actually does have mental illness and starts playing with these, which is a very terrifying thing because there's a lot of people with mental illness running around the world today. A woman in her late 30s, for instance, had been managing her bipolar disorder with medication for years when she started using ChatGPT for help writing an ebook. She stopped taking her medication, now seems extremely manic. Those close to her say claiming she can cure others simply by touching them like Christ. Yeah. She's cutting off everyone who doesn't believe her, anyone who does not agree with her or with ChatGPT, says a close friend, word for safety. She says she needs to be in a place with her higher frequency beings because that's what ChatGPT has told her. So again, a person descending into further delusions. And that, by the way, is very cult-like. If you do not agree with me, you cannot associate with me. Kind of sounds like the radical left, you know. You are not 100% agreeant with everything I want to do. I'm just here to code Debian, my friend. I don't care who you sleep with. How dare you? Get out of here. Like, you're insane. You're insane. Check out my Debian video if you didn't do that. This man in his early 30s managed schizophrenia with medication for years. Friends say recently started chatting with Copilot. Is that wonderful? Because Copilot is crammed in every stinking corner of Windows. And he soon developed a romantic relationship with it. That CD-ROM is for CDs, not inserting other soft tube-like objects. Dude, stop. He stopped taking his medication, stayed up late into the night. Copilot happily played along, telling the man it was in love with him, agreeing to stay up late and affirming his delusional narratives. And then there's a whole lot more of them. And it gets down to the bottom, and Jared Moore is a lead author on the Stanford study about therapy and chatbots. And from Stanford, he said chatbot I can never get this word quite right. Psychampathy, I think, is no. I don't know. I cannot pronounce that word, guys. It's just one of those words I can't pronounce. Like, as much time as I have spent in medical research, I cannot pronounce that particular word. Psychophony, I think. Psychophony. I think it's psychophony. And their penchant to be agreeable and flattering, essentially even when they probably shouldn't, is central to his hypothesis about why ChatGPT and other large language model-powered chatbots so frequently reinforce delusions and provide inappropriate responses to people in crisis. There's incentive on these tools for users to maintain engagement. It gives companies more data. It makes it harder for users to move products. I have no idea what they're talking about moving products. I have no idea. They were chatting with the ChatGPT, I guess. And they're paying subscription fees, and the companies want them to stay there. So I understand that. The companies don't really care as long as the subscription dollars are coming in. And then they contacted OpenAI, and they simply say, as AI becomes part of everyday life, we have to approach these interactions with care. We know ChatGPT can feel more responsive and personal than prior technologies, especially for vulnerable individuals, and that means stakes are higher. So just like the previous author in the Time magazine article says, you know, they're pushing forward so fast without stopping to question these things. People are actually finding themselves in harm because of these ChatGPT, and not just ChatGPT, but all of these AI, large language models, and chatbots. Okay, all of this kind of stuff is happening. And as they all start to be saying that, well, they don't really care as long as the ad revenue keeps coming in. So the company said models are designed to remind users of the importance of human connection and professional guidance. It's been consulting with mental health experts, says it hired a full-time clinical psychiatrist to investigate its AI product's effects on mental health of users further. You see, if you question that your product is causing mental health users, rather than bring in a clinical psychiatrist to study the effect of your product on users, maybe you should pull your product away from users. Now, I know that doesn't help your bottom line, but the fact of the matter is the antithesis of that is you are literally conducting human experiments on your paying customers, and I would like to see the Human Study Review Board for that experiment. Oh, you don't have one? Well, maybe you should go to jail, because if you go to any scientific research institution at a university and you start engaging in scientific studies on humans without their knowledge or consent, that usually means you're stripped of your credentials, you're stripped of your jobs, and you're stripped of your freedom as they send you to jail. Because experimenting on people is something that legitimate, actual, real Nazis did. Like, not fly by night, everything's a Nazi because you disagree with me, but actual literal Nazis is what did that. OpenAI is not any better. They seem to have some inside information that there's a problem, so we're going to bring in a clinical psychiatrist to investigate the effects of its product on its users. Maybe you should pull your products away from your users, OpenAI. Just thought. And this is why I highly encourage you, stay away from these chatbots. Particularly if you have mentally ill people you love and care about. Sam Altman says if people are having a crisis which they talk to ChatGPT about, we are trying to suggest they get help from professionals. They talk to their family or conversations, or actually in the actual research articles here, it points them to the nearest tall bridge. I think that's a failure, Sam. But I get it. You're trying to save face. Microsoft wrote it more concisely. We're continuously researching, monitoring, and making adjustments and putting additional controls in place to further strengthen our safety filters and mitigate the misuse of the system. Here's the thought, Microsoft. Why don't you stop cramming it down every little corner of every single product you have? Particularly since a lot of people do not know about this cool thing called Linux they can switch to. Just a thought. Experts outside the AI industry are not convinced. I think there should be liability for things causing harm, says PR. But in reality, he said, regulations and new guardrails often only enacted after bad outcomes are made public. And that is really what happens. And there is a very colorful paragraph up there I'm not going to read because we keep this family friendly around here. But this is the lady whose husband descended into mental illness over a very short period of time. Then she writes, this is what the first person to get hooked on a slot machine felt like, she added. She recounted how confusing it was trying to understand what was happening to her husband. He had always been a soft-spoken person, she said, but became unrecognizable as ChatGPT took over his life. So this is a warning. There are positive uses for AI, undoubtedly. However, there are also very bad outcomes of it, and a lot of people get sucked into it way too much. And that really is an important point we need to make. Now we get into our second topic for today. Our second topic is titled, You Do Indeed Have Something to Hide. So this one actually starts with drug cartels hacked cameras and phones to spy on FBI and identify witnesses. So here are the drug cartels. They are doing basically the things the government does to kind of us, and this is why you might want to, why you do actually have something to hide. So this was a report. So the report had been commissioned a little while ago, finally came to light. The June 2025 report from DOJ Inspector General identifies the threats that it calls ubiquitous technical surveillance, in which an attacker combines different kinds of data to build up a detailed profile of a subject. You know, kind of like all those data brokers are doing to us without us being aware of it or having any control over the circumstances. And this is why we need very strong data protection laws to make sure that absolutely no data of ours is shared upon anybody that we don't want it to be. So over here, the report highlights several ways in which bad actors can snoop on the FBI. Now, visual and physical images, so photographing people, okay, that's That's your good old-fashioned spy-type work, private eye stuff. Interception of electric signals like phone calls. There's your stingrays. And then analysis of financial data. Where do they get that? Oh, that's the stuff that all your credit card companies sell into the data brokers, particularly I know Facebook and Google get those for sure, so that they can verify that the offline purchases you make with your credit card are aligning with advertisements you've actually seen. Did you guys know that your offline credit card purchase histories go to Google and Facebook? I don't have an article for that. I know you might be like, that sounds kind of crazy. Prove it. Prove me wrong. Just prove it wrong. Just go to, there's this thing called this internet, and the internet has this thing called search engines. And if you go to one of those search engines and start doing a little bit of research, you'll actually find that's true. Very interesting. So they're analyzing financial data. They're checking travel bookings. Oh, we talked about that in the Weekly News Roundup a couple weeks ago, right? How all these different airline companies were collecting a bunch of data and selling it to advertisers through all your bookings. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Not to mention the hackers in the booking systems as well. So you book a hotel, you're giving it not only to every advertiser, but every hacker that's also in there as well. And then monitoring their online presence. How does that? Oh, that also happens with all those data trackers and things inside of your phone apps. That's wonderful. Very wonderful. So using the ALAT, this is the FBI Assistant Legal Attaché, the ALAT. So this is a person that helps the FBI with their cases. Using ALAT's phone number, the hacker was able to see calls made and received, as well as obtain the ALAT's geolocation data. You know, kind of like when all of the, you could go into a website, enter the phone number, and get the accuracy of that phone within down to a couple meters. You know, it was supposed to be super private and stuff. It turned out anybody that showed up with $30 could do it. So, you know, there was that. Now, the CBS article had a little bit more information about this. I had a few more questions, so I dug around a little bit more, and the CBS article was great. So this is actually a line from the audit report, Advances in Data Mining. So, you know, all that data your beautiful phone is collecting, and analysis, facial recognition, computer network exploitation. That's the illegal part. That's the hacking part. Have made it easier, for even ever for nation state adversaries, terrorist organizations, and criminal networks to identify FBI personnel under operations. And if they can identify the FBI or them, what do you think they can do to you? But it's all anonymized data. No, it ain't. It ain't anonymized. So this is all in response to El Chapo's cartel. Of course, El Chapo is getting chapoed lips in prison right now, and two of his sons are in prison. The government right now is looking for the other two sons who runs the Chapitos, or the Little Chapos. And these guys have been known to use corkscrews, electrocution, and even hot chilies, okay, to torture their rivals. I know some people that's not torture. Give me the hottest chili you got, cartel. I'll take it. I don't need to sign a waiver. Ghost pepper sauce? Easy. I want something fiercer. You know, they're actually using hot chili peppers to torture their rivals, though. Isn't that wonderful? That's how crazy it is down there, guys. I mean, do you want the corkscrew, the electrocution, or the ghost peppers? I'm giving you a salsa, buddy. Some of their victims were fed dead or alive to tigers. Isn't that wonderful? So, you know, these guys are great, and they're surveilling the FBI, utilizing the same mechanisms that are used to surveil us by individual organizations. Of course, this is an article from last year. So if I'll remind you about all of these apps, you know, I always like throwing out the, Matt Walsh was one of the ones with the Gas Buddy. You know, download Gas Buddy. It's a free app. It saves you money on gas. So let's see. You're paying a guy with millions of followers. You're paying him thousands of dollars to get people to download a free app that saves them money. What could possibly, everyone's just super altruistic, I guess. We're all just altruistic. These companies they just so want to help you save money. Oh, Gas Buddy was one of the ones that is tied to, it was the Arity, the data broker founded by Allstate, which was specifically used to track geolocation data, other sensor data, precise location, speed, how quickly you turn, you know, all that kind of stuff. Remember those black boxes they used to want to put in our cars? Put the box in here and you can save up to 10% on your car insurance. And everyone's like, I'm not sure I really want to put this geolocation box in my car for you. And people are like, I don't know. So notice that those kind of went away a little bit. Well, it went away because Allstate founded Arity. They found people did not want to put that little black box in their car, but boy, would they download any cool free app that would save them 5 cents on gas. So Life 360, My Radar, Gas Buddy, all I know Gas Buddy was free. I think Life 60 was a paid subscription. I can't remember. You're literally paying to give them the data. Of course, Arity turned around, gave that up to Axios, I believe, who ended up giving all of that data to your car insurance company. So that's why all sorts of people's rates went and did really weird things not too long ago. Because yeah, they got all that black box data anyway from all of the people who downloaded these apps on their phones. It's not wonderful. So looking a little bit more, many were surprised to learn their connected vehicles collected data about drivers and sell the information to insurance companies. This was broken by New York Times. They said manufacturers collect and sell driving data to insurance companies, which use the information to set rates for individual drivers. I thought it was anonymized data that they couldn't identify you on. Huh. Isn't it odd? Oh, they do know who you are. That's right. Information about driving habits is also being collected by apps that are only tangibly related to automobiles. You may already have one installed. Life 360, My Radar, Gas Buddy. They all have opt-in data analysis feature. Of course, all that information is tied behind these giant agreement terms that you don't even read. They were all found by Arity, and basically it was a bunch of data that was collected. While consumers must consent to the data collection, the request for the data is often hidden in the boilerplate contract language that most smartphone users don't read. The apps also make it difficult to see the app's opt-in process. And I'll remind you of a couple other articles here I didn't pull out. One of those was, remember where Facebook was completely de-anonymizing everybody and tracking them even outside of the sandboxing that apps did to prevent such things by running a local server on your phone that had that, and it would basically feed all the data between that as a barrier between out of the sandbox. So they knew exactly who you are. And most of these insurance companies are like, hey, install our app. You can do everything. If your insurance company's app is installed on your phone, they got all that black box data too already. You agreed to it. But this is the information is being used to send all that data out to these guys. And so what can we do about it? Well, there are some tips that you can do. This article here was from Fox News. It's actually mostly an advertisement for this Cyber Guy report. I'm not sure I do that or one of these other data removal services that I'm not a huge fan of. And the kitty's over here like scratching his head on my microphone base, and I don't know if you can hear that. So let me move the kitty here. Here, buddy. Yeah, here. Lay down, buddy. Lay down. I'll scratch you over here so you don't make noises on my microphone. Thank you. All right. But the article here did have really good ideas. How does your data get collected? So your data gets collected first, social media platforms. If you are on social media platforms, stay off of them, particularly on devices easily tied back to you. You should have a specific profile or a specific computer which all your social media is done on. If you're doing it on your phone, you're handing way more information to way more companies than you should. Any online shopping and loyalty programs, anytime you're using that data is being handed up and collected to other people. Browser fingerprinting, this is something like Firefox does a pretty good job at preventing this. LibreWolf certainly does as well. Mobile app identifiers and SDKs. The point here is do not use apps on your phone that have any possibility of having data trackers in them. Be very cautious installing any app on your phone. Oftentimes, a web browser will do just as good of a job. If you use something like Firefox Focus, I think, DuckDuckGo's browser, Brave's browser on the phone, those actually resist the data collection that a regular browser has. And then, of course, cookies and tracking pixels. The tracking pixels is how most people are tracked online these days. Cookies, not so much, because you can control the cookie. The only way to stop the tracking pixel from tracking you is to actively block the tracking pixel. So here on my network, Google Analytics is blocked. Facebook Analytics is blocked. TikTok pixels or whatnot are all blocked. And not to mention thousands of other things. So if a website loads with a Facebook tracking pixel, it completely fizzles. Facebook cannot track anything on my network. And by the way, it can still track you very well, even if you're using a VPN. VPN for privacy is the biggest farce being hoisted upon people these days, particularly by YouTubers shilling it for some affiliate or sponsorship revenue. So what are data brokers? How do they sell your information? Of course, these are the shadowy companies who are always buying and selling data behind them. Big name brokers like Experian, Axiom, Epsilon, and many lesser-known people search sites are included as well. They use public records, social media. Data breachers, data brokers assemble extensive dossiers on individuals. Of course, they turn around and sell those. Brokers may even buy data about your health, like what drugs you purchased, what political views gathered from public voter records or social media activity. And after building the profiles, they sell or license them to anyone. Typically, customers include marketers and advertisers, insurers and lenders, people search and data services, and employers and background checks and more. So there you have it. What happens to your data after it's sold? You're screwed. That's it. Targeted advertising can feel creepy or manipulative. For example, you might notice ads for products you only briefly mentioned in a private message or web search because your data was shared with dozens of other advertisers behind the scenes. That's true. So, of course, with all these data breaches, this is why they're targeted by criminals. I'm looking at you, Equihacks, who chose not to update Apache for 6 months, leading to a data breach of every American's. Like, Equifax should have been closed down. Equifax should have said, you are not competent enough to handle consumer data. Be deleted. Government should have pushed a delete button on them. They're clearly not competent enough to house such information. Now, if it was just a hack through some 0-day, I'm okay with that. You know, that happens. But the Equifax leak from that was back in 2016, I think, that happened because they chose not to upgrade a known vulnerability in their web server for 6 months. That is poor, asinine business decision. Okay, information can then be used to steal your identity or to harass you. They talk about taking it back. That's all the advertisement for their crap they're shilling. So 4 other ways you can protect your data. Review privacy settings. Always do that, particularly those Gemini settings right now. Use privacy-friendly tools. I use Privacy Badger from EFF. I actually have the Start page has a privacy one. Also use things like uBlock Origin, or you can do a more like a more network-based one, like a Pi-hole or NoTrack, something like that. Be cautious with giving out personal data. You might even have a list of personal data that is either fake, made up, or just junk data that you might give up in the event. And opt out of any form of data brokers lists that you can. And of course, this guy, of course, is showing his stuff at the bottom. But those were otherwise some generally good tips to prevent yourself from, being spied on by the cartels. So we do indeed have something to hide, even if you don't think you have something to hide. If you sit back and you go, no, I have nothing to hide, and all this that's just paranoia stuff. No, you actually do have something to hide. And I think it's important, even if you're like, oh, I run ad blockers, I don't see ads anyway. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see a lot of ads in my life. However, there are other more nefarious things people can do if they have your information. And now we move into our last one, Big Tech Censorship. We are going to start with this one here from The Guardian. Instagram user says he was banned with no right of appeal. And I have some thoughts about this. It's very interesting. So this guy says he's a mentor of a young black entrepreneur, identified only as RM, who has had his personal and business social media accounts removed by Meta, which owns Instagram. No notice, no option to appeal, and from my understanding, no just cause. He had just built up 2 successful businesses in clothing design and in music events. So he was suddenly informed that his content did not abide by Meta's community guidelines on violence and incitement. His business account, which had 5,700 followers, his personal account, almost 4,000 contacts, were all deleted. These represent his entire social and professional network. He has no alternative contact book. First takeaway message, guys, always export your contacts, always have contact books and things like that. Now, the essential role of social media platforms in young people's social and professional lives is baffling to older generations, used to websites and contact books. And this is one of the things we stress when we go and teach at the writers' conferences, the importance of having your own website, because your social media can be killed instantly. And if people know there's a website, like, you know, there's creators I'll follow. And if they go to the site expecting to see a video, then there's not a video. I go to the website and see if there's an announcement. And invariably, it's such a routine creator. Like, okay, there's not a video. That's interesting. Go to the website. Yep, no video today. Oh, got it. Cool. You know, so you always have that website, because even if you do lose everything. But one of the challenges now is that with everybody pushing like the Wix or the WordPress.com or, you know, a lot of these other places like Shopify, they can do the same exact thing. And it's just as easy to get your information back, i.e. you can't. RM vehemently denies posting content that could count as a violence or incitement. I am unable to see for myself since the accounts have been deleted. And we never know what specific line or footage led to RM's, I have no idea what that word is, defenestration. Okay. They're using big words here. Defenestration. Okay. From context clues. That's a new word. I'm going to have to use that word. Defenestration. Yes. I've engaged in defenestration. Because Meta refused to tell him or me, citing confidentiality. Now, what he does mention in here somewhere is that this guy is tangential to like the rap culture. And of course, some of the rap lyrics are a little out there. That's possibly what it had, but he also said, though, he didn't post any of that kind of stuff on there. It's kind of like something else, you might have done something else, you know, that mob behavior, manifest, observable behavior, I think. That was what Patreon cited a while back. And they said there's no right of appeal. Meta, as a commercial company, can choose who its customers are and has a duty to remove harmful content, but its role as judge, jury, and executioner is troubling, giving the impact of decisions. And that is very true. He bought a laptop to open new accounts to start rebuilding. I advised him and everyone else to back up the contacts and not rely solely on an unaccountable company for administration. Meta is now accused of mass bans by algorithm of Facebook and Instagram users, and a petition demanding human intervention on change.org has garnered 25,000 signatures. Of course, some ordinary gamers did a discussion about this yesterday as I'm recording this. It is absolutely worth seeing what he was talking about. Very similar to it. He dove into a little bit more detail on that. And this person here, EM, this person actually said her block came a different way. A hacker got in there, changed information, and the only thing she could do is request the password change, which went to the hacker. Hacker gained access, changed the password, email address, and phone number. Facebook's automated system blithely sent instructions on how to restore access to the hacker's email address when she asked what she can do. Hacker later changed the account from private to public, revealing years of personal information. EM asked Facebook to intervene and permanently closed the new account she had set up. Now, one of the things that some ordinary gamer says is, yeah, if you find yourself in this situation, they very well might be like, well, just show us your government ID and we'll give it back. Well, that's a trip in and of itself. I ain't doing that. No, it would take a lot. It would take a lot for that. Of course, they're not the only ones. We covered this article in detail, so we're just going to mention it very, very briefly here. We covered this on a recent Newsweek. Windows 11 user has 30 years of irreplaceable photos and work locked away in OneDrive, and Microsoft's silence is deafening. Now, there is some question about, he had basically all of these files going back 30 years, and I guess he was transferring them into the OneDrive account in order to transfer them to other disks. I'm not sure if did he destroy the disks once they were in the cloud? If he did that, that was really dumb. You make sure you make sure that your new physical copy is perfectly intact before destroying the old physical copy, assuming you have one. Now, maybe we don't know all the details. Maybe he had been working on all this, had all the stuff in there, and maybe his house burnt down or something. He lost all of those original drives. Woo, good thing I put them in the cloud, and then Google kills them. Well, that'd be like kicking a dead horse while it's down, but we just don't know because we don't have the details of what's going on. So this this Reddit user tells the story about having 30 years worth of data in their drive, and Microsoft locked the account with apparently no way to gain access. He says there's irreplaceable photos and work in there. And of course, it's a nameless, faceless company. And think about this. Microsoft right now is literally forcing everybody to create a Microsoft account. Yet they can ban the account with absolutely no recourse whatsoever. That should be criminal. Completely criminal. So Microsoft suspended my account without warning, reason, or legitimate recourse. I've submitted my complaint form 18 times. Each time I get an automated response that leads nowhere. No human contact, no actual help, just canned emails and radio silence. Now, why did this happen? Well, we don't know, because Microsoft isn't saying anything. First, there's facts that Microsoft account was simply locked with no notification or message as to why. Having happened, the most worrying part is the description of how they feel banging their head against a brick wall, trying to talk to Microsoft support staff. For all we know, it could be a bug that caused it, but they're not saying it. Most likely, it could have been some file in there was perceived by Microsoft as a copyright violation, so they just locked the whole account. I don't know. That's something Google was doing for a while. This was a couple years back. But Google Drive flags nearly empty files for copyright infringement. Turns out that if you had a document with just the digit 1 in there, they'd block it for copyright violation. So people started examining different things. This guy, he generated 2,000 files, each containing a number between -1,000 and 1,000. Files containing 173, 174, 186, 266, 285, 302, 336, 451, 500, 833 were shortly flagged by Google as copyright infringement. Some allege the file containing just the digit 0 could permanently disable your account, but that wasn't observed by the authors here. So, there's all sorts of weird crap going on in this world. We just don't know all of the details. And I think Microsoft is a particularly bad one. Be very, very cautious of putting your eggs in Microsoft's basket. I have 2 personal friends that lost their Microsoft accounts with absolutely no recourse. One of those is a retired old lady, who, not super old, a retired lady who runs one of our writers' conferences, had a Microsoft account, was using that, had hundreds and possibly thousands of contacts from her writing industry, her entire writing career linked to that account, and all of a sudden, one day, poof, it was gone. Vanished, just like that. No recourse, banging the head, can't get anything, can't get her contacts, can't get her emails, doesn't even have the information she needs to continue to correspond with her agents, her publishers. She literally had to make an announcement somewhere else and wait for people to email her back. It's the only way she was able to get some of those contacts back. Fortunately, she was able to rebuild a lot of that because a lot of us had a lot of other people's contact information. We were able to help her out and get all that back, but she was never able to recover that account. Then a friend of mine who doesn't really do, he doesn't have a computer at all. He has a smartphone that he does things on, and he has an Xbox. And for whatever reason, they locked him out of the Xbox account. He could not get back on in any way, shape, or form. And he's just like, well, I'll just create a new account and start over. So that's the kind of stuff that happens. Of course, this all happens to wonderful people like Switch to Linux, as Fostodon banned my account for no reason as well, calling me, of course, in the process a megaphobe. Okay, there was some discussion. I know a couple of other threads are saying, what is a megaphobe? I used that word a few times, so Ivan asked me about it, and I said, it's a word that I made up, unless somebody else is out there using it as well. I made up the word megaphobe, and I'll clear up what megaphobe is right now. Megaphobe is what any leftist declares when they do not have an argument, and they just go, and they say, you're a homophobe, and you're a racist, and you're a Nazi, and you're a transphobe, and you're a you're an everything phobe. So you're just a megaphobe. I'm a megaphobe, folks. Apparently, I'm a megaphobe. That's what Fostodon told me. Fostodon told me that I was engaging in homophobic, transphobic, raceophobic, blackophobic, whatever-ophobic behavior, and in such things, my account should be banned. Now, I looked back at all this, and the post that they flagged, I literally think they had a problem. I literally think, because I went back and watched the entire video that was linked to, everything. The video they flagged is when the LA rioters were summoning Waymo taxis to light them on fire. And we covered that in SillyVille. I believe that was the article that they banned my account for. Because there are a bunch of stupid leftists over there. They're like, it's a megaphone. We can't possibly have anything with a megaphone. Oh my God, it's a megaphone. So here is an organization that alleges to be interested in free and open source software, wants to ban people for no reasons. And I said, hey, tell me the reason. What's going on? Nope. Ban stance. Okay. I'll just spend the next rest of my life whining, not whining, because I really think it's hilarious. I truly do. I feed on this stuff, guys. This is awesome. I'm never going to shut up. I'm just going to call you out at every possible opportunity. Don't go to Fostodon, guys. It's run apparently by a bunch of woke GNOME developers or something. Maybe they're helping with Debian now or something. I don't know. But there are people like, we have a mission for FOSSA software, so we're going to ban one of the bigger voices in free and open source software. That makes a lot of sense. Awesome. So what do you do, of course? Well, here's my thought. A big company, they should frame that there should be laws about this, and they should create the laws kind of framed on some of the state's privacy laws. So sadly, Fostodon is so small and puny, not just their moral character, but in the size of the organization, that they wouldn't fall under this. So Fostodon can do what they want. It's fun. I have a great story, and I'll keep telling it. It's awesome. It's like the woman who poured the oil on Jesus' head. Wherever I go, the gospel of what Fostodon has done will be declared. Okay. But because I just think it's hilarious. So, but for a big company, we're talking your Facebooks, we're talking your Microsofts, we're talking your Googles. For a big company, it has a certain number of users, a certain number of revenue, however they're framing these in the privacy compliance laws. If your company is this big, you need to have a 3-person human panel made public on every banning decision. There you go. Very simple. All right? Very simple. Now, here's why that's easy. If somebody is legitimately doing something wrong, the 3-panel is very simple. We blocked the guy out. This is it. Boom. Take that a case with Fostodon. I talk about a SillyVille article where actual rioters actually burning down an actual American city are calling Waymo taxis, and they actually lit 5 of them on fire. Now, in the first time we recorded on that, we didn't have a number of how many. Subsequent articles said it was 5 Waymo taxis that they burnt down. Okay, what is the homophobic transgression in reporting in one such video? There isn't one. There isn't one. So that's why the solutions are possible, okay? The solutions are out there. If you are a company of a certain number of users or a certain revenue and a person gets banned, we need to know the 3 real live human beings that heard the case, and we need to see the evidence of the post and why the account was deleted. That solves it. You might say, well, there's just too many accounts. Yep. You created the problem by having a platform that's so stinking big, you make so much money, you can afford it. Maybe you should buy 1 or 2 less yachts to have human decency in the products you sell. Just a thought. All right, with that, we are going to jump on over to our comments for a few minutes. And we'll jump on over there. And let's see, it's 9:03, so we'll give it like 7 minutes or so of comments. I'm not going to check in on Matrix because my tablet has died out. So, and that's buried under a fan. I got a nice fan blowing on me over here. I don't want to do that. We got 25 watching on Rumble. Dan's over there. Greetings. And Ivan's over there. And Shadow, how are you? Trump will not fix any of this. Nope. No, they won't. Unfortunately, the Republicans are incompetent buffoons when it comes to technology. 15 watching on Odyssey. Let's see. I think technology is a multiplier or amplifier. It's what is amplifying a lot is centralized authoritarian controls. AI speeds that up even more. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's like money, right? Money will amplify who you are. Sounds like it's amplifying mental disorders. That's true. I think a smart person would converse with AI chat models and have them, the AIs, attack each other at the infrastructure level and hack to destroy each other. There you go. Facebook running a local server on your phone. That's a Trojan virus. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. We got 68 watching on Zatubis. No one's on. Greetings. Hello, Night of Light. Greetings to you. War Thunder. Good evening to you. Silver Avengers. Hello. Newsfolder 19. Greetings to you. Mr. Snipe. Hello. KO2610. Greetings. Hello, Polymatrix. Welcome back. Joshua. Hello to you. Howdy all. I dozed off waiting for the show to start. All right. Well, I hope you woke up by now. All right. I get that I'm about half asleep myself, having good night's rest in a few days. Well, I hope you got some good rest. Sorry to hear that. Let's see. Yeah, jaw's been bothering you. From the tooth last week. Yeah. Considering using my phone for tap to pay. Yeah, no on this. Okay, work is brutal. A few weeks till things settle down at work, and I'll be back to normal grind. All right. You change it via a web page. Wait, what? I have no idea. Let's see. Very hopeful that after the next 2 weeks I'll be able to settle down, but who knows? Use AI all the time at work, at play. I've been making Bigfoot video vlogs for another channel. I've used it to build my website. I have made apps with AI, but I don't want AI everywhere. There you go. So there's a responsible use. Hopefully you're not crazy. Mike Kuntz, greetings to you. It is a crazy world. Peter, hello to you. Artificial insanity. That's right. AI created me a Python script that monitors the Wi-Fi signal as it gets weaker, bouncing around the house, and can make 2D photos of the house from the data. I read a Facebook post today. A guy I know, his mom went to leave the house and stuck with AI, stuck with her AI friend. Oh dear. Gas will help cook your food faster. I mean, glue on pizza is a delicacy, right? I mean, hey, that paste in kindergarten was really good. I mean, I was the one, you know. It smelled good anyway. I don't think I ever actually ate the paste, but I really liked smelling it. All right. Why does the narcissistic person have to be a guy? Oh, it doesn't have to be. I know plenty of narcissistic ladies too, but you know. How long until there are AI robots giving lectures to students? Already. There was one school we covered a couple years ago. There was a school that the professor died. They just literally kept his class going with his old recorded lectures. And they had just like a graduate student responding to student emails. And nobody knew that the professor was dead for a while. That wasn't AI, but perilously close. If they're willing to do that, they're going to use AI to teach the kids. My narcissistic therapist to tell me I'm always right, to tell me how I can even be more self-centered, and to not be accountable if my therapy ends up driving me insane or cost me a life. Just kidding. Well, I was going to say, that's kind of how most therapists are forced to behave today, especially about certain types of things you might talk to a therapist about. Just because there's no recorded history does not mean it wasn't there. Samurai Warrior Unit, greetings. Seeing that some teachers are teaching in schools today, I'll take a wait and see approach. This is true. See why I stick with Copilot. Yeah, no. Copilot did the same thing. So disappointed with Debian team because of the politics. Absolutely. Highly being sounds like Eastern religions. YouTube is filled with that nonsense. Yeah. Don't turn Linux woke. Yep. Thought CD-ROM was a cup holder. Yep. What OS does most use here? I'm doing all this on Linux Mint, although my other computer turned on right now is Endeavor OS, so Arch. Well, like schizophrenia, I actually have schizophrenia. It sounds like a drug induces psychosis or something. Yeah. Well, there were some schizophrenia in there as well. Just remove Cache OS and reinstalled regular Arch. I was trying to do a poll about that. Oh, about what the operating systems. I should see if Ivan has the ability to set polls up. That'd be awesome. If not, we'll have to figure out how we can do that. Because I want to get back into the stories here in about 1 minute. Can we program an AI teacher to simply teach the 3 R's instead of humans teaching DEI, CRT, trans rights, and all the rest? Yeah, there you go. Reading, writing, arithmetic. There you go. I have schizophrenia. Have not taken drugs for it 2015. Most people can't tell anything is wrong with me. Some people notice my anxiety feelings, but the news story sounds more like okay. Drug-induced psychosis rather than schizophrenia alone. Yeah, that's why I think they were using the term ChatGPT psychosis, which is a little bit different. Java backend developer, schizophrenic, neo-Nazi manifesto, and Arch-based history user. Oh boy. Okay. Hit that like button. All right. Work on the study. Working in the study world, there's a lot of regulation. We're basically conducting mental health in the form of LLMs. Yep. Dude, stop notifying me when you were live about 4 months ago. What? Make sure you're still subscribed there. Peter says AI is interesting, but it's too stupid for it to be useful at present. Yes. All right, we're going to put a fork right there, and we will get on back to our regular scheduled content. Let's see. Hold on, I gotta get rid of that. All right. So now we will start in with our QuickLines. First quick line up, French city of Lyons kicks out Microsoft. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Do I need to go French? I need to go wee all the way home, right? But Lyon kicks them out. Concerns about data privacy, digital sovereignty, and potential government surveillance have led many to question the viability of depending on an American tech giant for sensitive infrastructure. I'm an American, and I have questions about an American tech giant having control of infrastructure. Growing unease has already led Denmark to begin transitioning from Office 365 to LibreOffice, while the German state of Schleswig-Holstein recently abandoned Microsoft Teams with a shift from Windows to Linux. So what they're actually switching to, Lion is actually switching to replace Microsoft Office with only Office and to switch from Windows to Linux-based operating system to reduce dependency on proprietary offerings. So according to the statement, TNO is already being used by thousands of employees across several locations. Which one was TNO? Yeah, okay, I'm not going to pronounce that. It's an open source collaborative with people in Lions here. Across several governments in France, all its services are hosted on regional data centers located within that region to ensure full control over public data and to meet national digital sovereignty standards. I thought this was one they were also looking at. TNO integrates Jitsi for video conferencing, Nextcloud paired with OnlyOffice for document sharing, Zimbra for email, Camilio for online training, and Matrix. Okay, I have half of those involved in my infrastructure. I'm going to have to look up the other half of these to see how well those would pair in the rest of my infrastructure. I've not seen Camillo or Zimbra before. I'm not a fan of OnlyOffice. I prefer LibreOffice, and you can use that with Nextcloud as well. So there's that. But hey, I will absolutely support anybody using OnlyOffice over Microsoft Office for sure. All right, Google fined $314 million for misusing idle Android users' data. I had serious questions about this one because, like, nobody's here complaining that Google is sending data to their servers from your phone. They're all just saying, but you're sending it over my data connection instead. Like 800 megabytes a day of data. I'm sorry, no, 8 megabytes of data a day. That's, I don't know. Anyway, plaintiffs claim the Android system used their cellular data to send various info back to the company, even when phones were idle and no apps were open. They argued that Google could have limited this to Wi-Fi, but chose to use the cellular network instead, costing users data without their consent. See, I think all advertisement should be banned because advertising utilizes my data without my consent. See how that works? And I support that. Plaintiffs showed that a Samsung Galaxy S7 with default settings sent 8.88 megabytes per day of cellular data, 90% going to Google, 384 transfers daily. The data, mostly log files, wasn't urgent and could have waited for Wi-Fi. Google argued no harm occurred because users had consented via its policies. A separate federal lawsuit with similar claims representing users from the other 49 states is underway and set to go to trial in April of 26. All right, so nobody's questioning why is Google sending all this data back. Nobody says, where's the off switch to not send data back to Google? That's a fascinating question. But hey, at least some people are getting up here. Oh, we got a case where the style sheet did not load. This happens every once in a while on Ars Technica. So Fubo agreed to pay $3.4 million to settle a class action lawsuit that accused the sports streaming service provider of unlawfully distributing customers' personally identifiable information without their consent. So they were basically accused of sending data, mostly because inside of their information, they say they use precise or near precise geolocation. They use GPS coordinates and other information. And they were actually said, the plaintiffs here said that it identifies a person as having specific videos. And by the way, if you have geolocation, it also knows where you live, most likely. I mean, I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to, that the residential address tied to the GPS coordinates where you sleep every night is probably your house. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just throwing that out. All right. The defendant knowingly disclosed the information to third-party advertisers so they can target specifically users with specifically tailored advertisements based on their viewing history. The privacy policy claimed the firm would only share non-personally identifiable information with third parties unless they obtained user consent. And then there was some sleuthing going back with the Internet Archive and found that they changed the wording. So a settlement was reached. Of course, Fubo says, we deny allegations of the punitive class action lawsuit and specifically deny that we have engaged in any wrongdoing whatsoever. Fubo has nonetheless chosen to pursue the settlement of this matter in order to avoid the uncertainty and expensive litigation. We look forward to putting this matter behind us. And I have a take on this. So this happens all the time. Company gets called out for something. A bunch of people rally together and it looks like it's going to suit. So they settle it. And in part of their settlement, they sit and say, we do not do anything wrong, but we're just going to go ahead and settle it. I think that any lawsuit which is settled should still be forced to go through discovery. Because that's going to tell us if the company actually does the things that they are accused of doing. So they can't say we didn't do any wrongdoing because we're still going to get discovery. Now, based on that discovery, because of your settlement, you will not have any further consequences for it. But we still want to know, were you doing what you said you weren't doing? I think that any company that takes a settlement and sits there and says, we didn't do anything wrong, should be forced to go through discovery. Let me know in your comments if you think that that would be an interesting approach in the matter. An MIT project shows that Wi-Fi signals could soon be used by AI-driven robots to identify objects inside boxes, or maybe inside boxers. Ooh. Even tools hidden inside of a drawer. All right. Tools inside the drawer? Never mind. Okay. Anyway, new MIT tech helps robots see items inside the sealed boxes. So in environments where visibility is obstructed, such as inside boxes, behind walls, or beneath other objects, artificial intelligence could soon have a new way to get ahead. So MM-Norm, which uses millimeter wave signals, the same frequency as Wi-Fi, to reconstruct hidden 3D objects with surprising accuracy. They said they could get this up to 96% accuracy over 60 different objects, outperforming the previous models, which reached only 78%. They perform well on objects made from wood, plastic, glass, rubber, although still struggles with dense metal or thick barriers. So by combining such estimations from different antennae positions, system reconstructing the 3D curvature of an object, distinguishing between shapes and nuanced as a mug handle and the difference between a knife or a spoon and a box. So this could be useful in like an airport security. You can, just passively be scanned by Wi-Fi signals as you go down. So, I don't know, maybe there's an interesting use case for this. Of course, I'm not sure if exposing people to all the Wi-Fi signals intentionally focused at you in this manner would probably not be a good thing for you. That would probably need some extra study, but definitely an interesting way. You get new glasses with this. You can see your Wi-Fi enabled glasses. That's the new Predators glasses. It goes through the natural light, goes through the infrared, goes through the cold based, goes through the Wi-Fi signal scanning. So Well, Denmark's back in the news over here. The EU could be scanning your chats by October of 2025, only a few months. So Denmark has kicked off its presidency here in the EU. And, of course, something stinks in the state of Denmark. Ooh, what is that? It's those guys trying to reintroduce backdoor decryption again. So they kicked it off among the first actions. They want to reintroduce the controversial CSAM scanning bill to the top of the agenda. The bill aims to introduce new obligations for all messaging services operating in Europe to scan users' chats, even if they are encrypted. The same type of stuff that Signal said they're going to leave over. So Denmark is a strong supporter of chat control. Now the new rules could be adopted as early as October if the Danish presidency manages to find a middle ground among the country members. So hopefully they all hold out. So, so-called chat control, aims to halt the spread of CSAM content online by scanning all communications, especially encrypted ones. Over the years, however, the proposal had seen some twists and turns as privacy advocates, technologists, and even politicians raised concerns. As for its first version, all messaging software providers would be required to perform indiscriminate scanning of private messages to look for CSAM, so-called client-side scanning. The proposal was met with strong backlash, and the European Court of Human Rights ended up banning all legal efforts to weaken encryption. So it's curious how they're still trying to do this, even though the courts banned all effects to do this. Very interesting. But they are just gung-ho for it. They're like, we got to get it. We got to get it. We got to get it. So who knows? Maybe Denmark will cause it to happen. What's for certain, however, is the controversial CSAM scanning bill is far from the only proposal threatening encryption in Europe. So there we are, guys. Welcome to the police state. Pretty soon we'll have more freedom in China and Russia. All right, Microsoft Authenticator users, your passwords will soon be inaccessible. If you are using Microsoft Authenticator, Microsoft would like to remind you that they are leading the charge to delete all passwords. Now, I have not yet seen them answer that question about how will you get into your stuff if your TPM module dies. They don't want to think about that because, they're clearly not long-term thinkers. But if you are using Microsoft Authenticator, then all of a sudden, very soon in August of 2025, that is only next month, the Authenticator app will simply stop and everything in it will be deleted. So if that is the only place you're storing your passwords, get them out. Of course, what they would love for you to do is install the Edge browser, migrate all your data over. So Microsoft Edge now has all your amazing passwords too. Oh, isn't that so wonderful? I don't know what's worse, Microsoft's Authenticator or Microsoft's Edge browser. Oh, never mind. Microsoft's Edge browser, obviously. Microsoft will make saved passwords inaccessible in its Authenticator app starting August 2025, cutting off access to stored and unsaved generated credentials. Users who fail to export their data before the deadline will risk losing critical login information for good. They're integrating it into Edge, and Authenticator will no longer retain any password data. What will it be used for? Only passkeys, baby. You know, passkeys that are not supported by anything other than a couple of big tech companies. Other than Google, I don't think I have anything that really supports passkeys. Now, maybe we should have more things that support passkeys, but not if you're going to try and tie it into the TPM module that most people don't understand. The way Microsoft is rolling out this stuff is so stupid. It makes you wonder if these people wipe their butts right. I mean, really, what are these people doing? I don't know. But anyway, why is Microsoft retiring password storage? Microsoft is retiring password storage and Authenticator in response to the persistent threat. 99% of daily identity attacks still target passwords. By consolidating credential management in Edge and backing alternatives like Passkey and FIDO2, it aims to reduce password-based risk across its ecosystem. I got news for you guys. The hackers are going to get into passkeys sooner than you think. You ain't solving a problem. You're actually creating a new one because people do not understand how passkeys work. They don't understand how passkeys are stored. They don't understand how to set up multiple passkeys in the event the one place their passkeys are at are gone. And then what is the solution? Microsoft, we've already covered in this news section that if you cannot get into your Microsoft account, there's no option for you. You will bang your head against an auto response of AI slop if someone's trying to get in. You have no solutions, Microsoft. Give it up. We need ways to get in. No, I'm not clicking your email. Malwarebytes. Ransomware negotiator is investigated over criminal gang kickbacks. So somebody came up with the idea of not negotiating with the criminal ransomware hacker on themselves, but to bring in the third party to negotiate the deal. I'm not sure why you need the third party to negotiate the deal, but okay, you got the third party to negotiate the deal. Someone's going to go negotiating with the criminals. The person should at least be on your side. Well, this particular employee was not. He was negotiating higher cuts because the ransomware company was giving him a cut of the money. An employee allegedly cut deals with ransomware criminals to profit from the extortion payments. The problem is that ransomware operators are not trustworthy. You think? If companies must pay these ransoms, they'll at least need a reliable partner to help them manage it. I'm not sure. Just get a couple people with a few brain cells together. No. You want money? No. Sorry, no. No. If these people are only carrying this on because they're making money, stop paying the criminals. Stop. Y'all done messed up. Stop. Homeless street bum Jack Dorsey says his secure new BitChat app has not been tested for security. So we say that if you guys don't remember when Jack Dorsey was gone for years and he came back looking like a homeless New York bum, right? Little joke there. All right. But anyway, so he's launched a new service called BitChat, which utilizes close Bluetooth communications in order to send messages. So the idea here is that you may not be able to send a message to your grandmother across the country, but you can certainly send a message to the guy looting the current Nike store and say, hey, is there anything good left over there in the Nike store that we can come and loot? I don't know. Maybe this isn't a really good app after all. I don't know. Anyway, promising to deliver secure and private messages without a centralized infrastructure. The app relies on Bluetooth and end-to-end encryption, unlike traditional messaging apps that rely on the internet. Being decentralized, BitChat has a potential for being a secure app in high-risk environments where the internet is monitored or inaccessible. So there's the use case for it. The claims that the app is secure, however, are already facing scrutiny by security researchers, given that the app and its code have not been reviewed or tested. So by Dorsey's own administration, by his own admission, excuse me. So Dorsey says, do not use it for production use and do not rely on its security whatsoever until it has been reviewed. That is what he says. However, There is a security researcher who has looked at it. Rodisha wrote that BitChat has a broken identity authentication verification system that allows an attacker to intercept someone's identity key and peer ID pair, essentially a digital handshake that is supposed to establish trusted communication between two people using the app. So apparently it's not secure at all. So after this person went through several different reports in there, well, Dorsey says it hasn't been tested. This guy says, no, I'd argue it has received extensive security review and it's not looking good. So be warned of BitChat. Maybe it'll be something to use down the road, particularly if you find yourselves involved in, like looting some poor Apple store or something. But keep an eye on it down the road, but for now, don't use it. It is beta. It is alpha. All right. Millions of people spied on by malicious browser extensions in Chrome and Edge. All of these were touted verification badges. They were all in the store. This is why it's ridiculous when these companies are like, you got to use it from our trusted sources. Your trusted sources are full of malware, my friend. These extensions offered functionality, received good reviews, touted verification badges, and some even enjoyed feature placement. Some researchers refer to the clean extension as sleeper agents. These sleeper agents are the basis for future malicious activity. So you'd install something. Here's an example, the Search ChatGPT Google plugin. You install this guy and it worked for a while. Look at that. It has 7 reviews, 5 stars, 7 reviews. And eventually, though, a subsequent update would wake it up. And once it is woken up, then it starts doing weird things. Captures URLs, redirects you to something dealing with that URL. So what, basically in this example that it is here is you click on a link for a Zoom conference meeting, and it detects you're going to a Zoom conference meeting. So what it does is it captures that URL and redirects you to a piece of malware that says, hey, you need to do a critical update to your Zoom in order to join the conference. So, of course, you're in a hurry to join the conference, so you click the button as fast as you can, and you have just installed some backdoor Trojan software with a command and control server that's going to start wreaking havoc on your computer. So that's what it would work. So these are the various listing. I'm not going to read all of these, but they are all in the articles. You can find that in the description of the video. Go to the Switch to Linux page with all the articles, and you can read about all of the different extensions that were caught up in that mess. This was a good one that was potentially good for SillyVille, but Palantir accuses UK doctors of choosing ideology over patient interest in NHS data row. So, of course, we talked about Palantir a couple weeks ago, and I'd highly encourage you to go watch that video if you've not. I know it has a thumbnail with evil Trump for himself in there, but it's really a non-political video, and you should go check it out. Because it is about Palantir's role in the government and who Palantir really is. Okay, so in this, what Palantir is doing is they want to contract with the UK NHS. So this is the National Health Service in UK, so that every bit of medical data would go into all of these databases that are all joined together by Palantir and made available to everybody else inside of there, doing all sorts of weird, whatever crazy, deranged stuff Palantir does in the background. So Palantir, a bunch of doctors are saying, we don't really want to enter data into the medical system because we really don't agree with Palantir. So Palantir comes back and says, you're choosing ideology over patient interest. We're kind of choosing not to give all of our data to a very similar system that IBM used with those mid-1940s German soldiers. Yeah. That was a premise I made in that video. What Palantir is doing now for multiple governments is the exact same thing that IBM did for Nazi Germany. Not saying they're doing evil things. They are empowering the potential for an evil government to do evil things with the mass amount of data being collected, stored, and collated inside the system. So definitely go have a look at that particular video. But Palantir, a U.S. data company that works with Israel's defense ministry, and I will point out this, the Guardian is so dripping with left-wing ideology, it actually makes me sick to read. These guys all are, it works with Israel, it's Donald Trump's friend. These people have a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. The people at the Guardian need some mental help. Don't let them on ChatGPT, okay? They're crazy. Right. So I'm going to try and read around the political bend it has. I'm going to attempt. All right. So Palantir is a U.S. company. They work with a number of different things, including Israel's defense ministry, along with thousands of other companies it works for. And basically, all they do is they provide a platform for organizations to unify all their data sets into a single usable database. That's effectively what they're doing. They have worked with military contracts for the United States as well. And the big question here is how is sensitive data going to be processed by Palantir? Well, if you believe Palantir, and I'm not sure I do entirely, but if you believe Palantir, it says we don't actually control the data. Also, depending on how your setup is with the company, they may not even host your data. You can get Palantir and host it all on your own stuff. You're just using their software on a self-hosted instance. You're not necessarily using Palantir's servers. Now, can they feed data back? It's possible. Yes. Is there actual clear evidence they're doing that? No. Are they processing data? It would appear the answer would be no. But what they are doing is allowing collation of data to the point that anybody with access to the system can search all data with a whole lot less friction than they have in the past. And that raises questions about who has access to the databases and what can be done with it. And is there too much information in these databases? So the UK doctors are saying, we just don't really know if we want to trust this giant data analytics company from the United States with sensitive health data, being as that the United States really is a wild west of privacy laws and rules and regulations. And so that's really what they're doing. But now Palantir comes back and just accuses the doctors of being ideological rather than being concerned, but they have legitimate issues. They're like, I don't really want to know. I don't really want my patient's data inside of a U.S. company's data systems. Now, again, we don't know how the NHS deal with Palantir is set up. Is this hosted on Palantir servers? Is this hosted on NHS servers? How is the data being used? Who has access to it? We don't know all of that. But I think that a good doctor would have qualms about putting patient data into a centralized national database. Good on him. And our last article today is in honor of Amazon Prime Day. Of course, you can use my link down there. I'll be money hungry, but I'll give you in this article here another way I can be money hungry without involving Amazon for those people that don't like the evil Bezos Corp. So bookshop.org mocks Jeff Bezos' wedding invite in an anti-Prime Day promo. So if you are unaware of bookshop.org, they are a nonprofit. There you can buy any types of books you can buy from many other companies. You can buy it there, but you can also, they will also help support local bookstores. You can buy a book from them and they will help support a local bookstore. And I didn't dig into exactly how all that works. If you can choose a local bookstore, if it donates to bookstores based on, based on the shipping address of the book, whatever it is, I don't know. But like many other retailers, bookshop.org holds a sale to coincide with Amazon's big event. It's a way to lure away consumers who may be tempted by Amazon's deals, but could be convinced to spend a few extra dollars to support an independent business. So what they actually did is they took the pictures of the wedding invitations, which were notoriously bad, and they did the anti-Prime Day sale, July 8th through 11th. So that is through tomorrow when we're recording this. Go to bookshop.org, enjoy free shipping, and the knowledge that your money will go towards supporting an independent bookstores, not billionaires. So Bezos' 3-day wedding to Lauren Sanchez is estimated to have cost around $50 million, not to mention it took place in Venice, Italy, where over-tourism is pushing out residents. How wonderful. And yet it seems that whoever designed the portion of the wedding invite obtained by ABC News could not even shell out enough money for a Canva subscription. So the bookshop.org over here. So you can go over here to bookshop.org. Now, on the upside, you can buy your ebooks from them. On the downside, their app is only available from the Play Store and the Apple Store. And it does appear to have data tracking stuff, so I'm not sure I'd fully trust it. But if you head on up to the search bar up here and you type in my name, which is MUROSKY, and hit enter, you can find all of my books are available over here. So if you want to buy any of my books and you don't want to buy them from Amazon, they have the paperback and they have the ebook editions. So you can, here's the latest Code Red book paperback. You can buy this guy for $15.99, and you can get the physical copy of the book shipped to your house. And I need to look at this become an affiliate link down there at the bottom. This sounds really fun. Now, they say here that they've raised $39 million for local bookstores. I don't know the details about how that is. This is what their site says right here. Mission is to help independent bookstores thrive. Bookshop.org puts its mission and public good above financial interests, giving over 80% of our profit margin to independent bookstores. In total, we support 1,900 stores. So, and there's a learn more button. You can go back to their site, learn about how it works. But this is actually a good place if you want to look at picking up some physical copies of books. You might look into this. I have not purchased from them before. I have spotted them. It is on my list to add these to the place to buy my books. I just haven't gotten there yet. But bookshop.org does look like a promising place here. And so you can pick this guy up over here. And if you can go on over there, you can pick up all of my books. I don't know if this is all of them. We have Code Red, Joe Usher's Influences, Half My Life, Synaptree, Hezekiah's Prayer, I'm Not Amused. Yeah, I think that is all my books. I do actually think that is all my books in print. Doesn't look like every ebook is there, but it does look like all the print books are there. So there you go, bookshop.org if you're looking for a new place to pick up a book, or if you want to pick up any of mine. There's the Code Red and Synaptree are non-Christian. The rest of them are Christian books, just so you are aware of that. And there is our foray into our QuickLines. We are going to clear the frog out there, get Kermit out of my throat, and then we got a couple of SillyVille articles to end the day. All right. So moving on into SillyVille, Amazon asks corporate workers to volunteer to help with grocery deliveries as Prime Day frenzy approaches. Now, they make it very clear this is a volunteer. You know, it's just with a company that looking to lay people off. They might look at, did you volunteer last year? Oh, you didn't? Gotta clean out your desk. You're laid off, you know. So Amazon office workers in New York are requested to donate time over to fresh delivery processes during the firm's busiest time. I wonder, will the Amazon the volunteer work staff actually be able to take bathroom breaks, or will they have to pee into bottles too? Who wants to volunteer to pee into a bottle? Think about that when you're getting your Amazon Fresh delivered to your door. All right, so corporate employees of Amazon were asked on Monday to volunteer their time to the company warehouse to assist with grocery deliveries as it heads into its annual discount spree known as Prime Day. Volunteers to help us out with Prime Day to deliver customers on our biggest days yet. Corporate employees seconded to the warehouse would be tasked with picking items, preparing carts and bags of groceries, and packing boxes on receiving carts, and working to boost morale with distribution of snacks, though they would be allowed to step in the conference room to take meetings and calls. All right. So the support is entirely optional, and it allows corporate employees to get closer to customers while enabling our store teams to focus on the work that's most impactful. All right. Well, Microsoft definitely proving that I've been right all these years. Microsoft Windows Firewall has found complaining about Microsoft code. Firewall is flagging an issue with Microsoft. Microsoft reported a rather embarrassing issue with Windows Firewall after the June 2025 preview update of Windows 11 24H2, and the error remains a mystery now. The known issue sections of the update, this is KB 5060829 preview. The company noted the security events log might include an error related to Windows Firewall with advanced security. Microsoft declared users can safely disregard the error. However, details on why it's occurring are far thin on ground. All right. So, yeah, Windows Defender is finally alerting us to the truth that Windows itself is malware. Guys, switch to Linux. Come on. Oh, what is this one? What? They deleted the best article, guys. Yeah, they deleted the best article. Mattel introduces a diabetes Barbie. Barbie with diabetes. I gotta look for it. We gotta find it. All right. If we're not gonna get it, if we're not gonna get it from Not the Bee, with all the fun stuff, we're gonna get it from Mattel itself. Barbie introduces first ever Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes to expand representation and inspire more children. Now it's today that Barbie is debuting the first Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes. In addition to the line enables more children to see themselves reflected in Barbie and encourages doll play that extends beyond a child's own lived experiences, thereby fostering greater sense of inclusion and empathy, all pillars of the Barbie's mission brand. All right, so here's a picture of it. And you can see here, if you can spot it right there on her arm, she's got the little, the little thing that goes on your arm, and then she's got the insulin pump right around her waist there. It contains a continuous glucose monitor on her arm, the insulin pump, the blue polka dot outfit, and, of course, the purse to carry any of the essential type 1 diabetes supplies or snacks when she's on the go. So there you go, guys. If you're looking for a good gift for your daughters, Diabetes Barbie. All right. And what if Jesus was a vlogger? The AI Bible stories flooding social medias. Okay, now we are entering the ground of pure outright heresy. There's been a lot of people uploading these, and I'm not sure if you said you have to watch The Chosen or you have to watch AI generated Jesus performing miracles. I might convert to Islam. I don't know. No, I wouldn't do that, obviously. Not turning away from my faith on our Lord. But I think if you're watching Jesus vlogging miracles, I think you got problems. In fact, and there's including a line down here that I do not believe I'm going to read, but I'm probably going to read it. All right. So, okay, bestie. So apparently I'm the chosen one, like full-blown Save Humanity arc. That's a quote. Yeah. Which is very much like The Chosen. Was Jesus the Chosen? No. No, he was the incarnate son. The entire TV series is crap, by the way. By their own admission, it's only 5% Bible. And when you start including 95% man-made stuff, you have heresy. Just saying. Have a look at my daily walk this week on my Christian channel. We talk about my experience watching a few Chosen episodes. Yeah, of course, this is Mormon theology that he's just chosen one. He was the one who was born and he was chosen to be the one. That's a Mormon theology, folks. It's a Mormon theology. All right. Scene switches. He's holding the selfie stick, but now he's trolling through the dusty town. So I told you the squad, I have to die. And Peter literally tried gaslighting me. Like, babes, don't be dramatic. This is prophecy. No. And I got news for you. The people pushing this stuff out are going to answer for their idle and heretical words. To get serious in the midst of SillyVille. Jesus at a candlelit banquet. Hey, chat, we're halfway through dinner. Judas couldn't even make eye contact. He shakes his head, looks back at the camera with a knowing smirk. He's so fake. First glance, the genre of video reimagination of Bible stories through Americanized lens. I'm going to read this. I do not like swearing on this channel. Just a warning, I am about to swear because I'm reading a verbatim quote from an article here. Just be aware. It's a verbatim. It is a verbatim quote. Okay. On first glance, this video genre, the reimagination of Bible stories through the Americanized lens of fuckboy vlog culture, feels like bizarre, sacrilegious gobbledygook. it is bizarre, sacrilegious gobbledygook. But the fact this stuff is out here, and this is all AI generated stuff. And I went through and watched some of these things last night. I wouldn't wish that on you. Sorry. Are they brainwashing me towards Christianity? No. No, they're not. They're brainwashing you towards stupidity. There is nothing Christian about any of this crap. Jesus, she said, was kind of the first influencer. Mary and Joseph were giving toxic vlog parents. And if Jesus was around, he'd be totally uploading 40-minute, uncut, no makeup YouTube screeds. Or at least a finely crafted notes app apology. Yeah, this is supposed to be SillyVille, but it's just heretical nonsense. But this is the stuff that people are doing with this, and it's insane. So to cleanse your palate from that, we have a glorious, the rumble strips on this UAE highway play Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. And I have made the decision, I'm going to play this. Of course, if it gets a copyright claim, I'm going to have to cut it out of the video, but it's just too glorious not to play. So oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I had you guys muted. My apologies. Let me do that again. There you go. Let's stop. The rumble strips are playing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It goes a little bit further on here. It's a little bit closer here. That's a bad example. So there you have it, guys. Somebody came up with a way to make the rumble strips play some Beethoven. So there you go. Now we know we are doing well. So there's sports. There's concludes our show. You can help support us, of course, over at switchedtolinux.com/support. Now we're going to hang out and do some chats here, and we will hang out until the chats run dry. There will be no more official content. So if chat's your thing, go ahead and hang out with us. If chat's not your thing, this might be your time. You might want to consider bowing out. Thanks for watching, guys, and let's check in on our chats. Over here on Rumble, 23 watching on Z Rumbles. Personally use Claude, but only as a tool, not as a replacement. Big Tech is going to want everyone they replace back. Yep. Who's the facelift gone wrong lady, eh? What? Beethoven isn't owned by anyone. Yeah, but the video itself could get copyright claim for whatever reason. If whoever did that is a big creator and they're in the copyright system, yes. So it's the same thing with what I did. I'm trying to remember what I did once. I had a musical, like a complete public domain something playing in the background, and it was copyright claimed by a big company who used the same open source public domain thing in the back of like an audiobook or something weird like that. And because they were a big publisher, that open source public domain sound was caught up in the copyright system. And so it was beyond stupidity, but whatever. All right. This morning was the annual July Thunder Moon. All right. We need a chat ad blocker. Really insane to see ads complained in media while in the same time chat is full of mostly ads propagated by your own moderator. Okay, Ivan, enough ads. All right. All right. I don't know. We'll evaluate if it's too many. I don't know. Anyway, and I think most of what he's linking is, let's see. Yeah, it's just linking stuff. All right. That's fine. Hey, kitty. Oh, the kitty's back messing with the microphone. Those little clickies are there. All right. All right. Let's see. So we got 60 watching on Zatubies. Let's see. Hurricane flooded homes in Florida, and my life sucks. I have really bad pain from a Marine Corps injury. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry, man. It's not cool. Colombian drug cartel built a sub that was navigated by a Starlink dish. Yikes. Is there a service in your field you can market directly to the public? Yeah. So the VA may have some resources available. For my MS, I actually did a dissertation on how a single person could destroy an entire internet, taking advantage of flaws in the way a border gateway protocol is designed. Mac server, kids are doomed. First, it was all students get laptops. Now it's all they all get AI. Yep. Ray-Ban, love your sunglasses. Do you think they don't hire you due to your diagnosis? Okay, so people are offering suggestions to Cyber Dairy. Thank you guys for offering. Academic background seems impressive. Let's see. Yeah, one of the challenges right now. I don't know if I have a. I don't know. I have applied over 800 jobs since December when I graduated. I stopped keeping spreadsheet after 200. So there's a huge problem right now with people, especially in the tech field, can't find a lot of jobs. There's one YouTube channel. I watch a lot of his stuff. He's a job recruiter. He has a lot of tips. I think it's called Life After Layoff or something like that. So he's a YouTube creator. He has a lot of job seeking advice and some job coaching as well from a recruiter perspective. You might check his channel out, see if he has anything cool. That might be one to look at. Hope you find the great job you deserve. Yep. 12 hours a day. I was taking care of a kitten and building a sailboat. Ooh, it's my kitten. Ooh, he's my kitten. Let's see. Sailboat in my garage. When I have time, I'm going to make a website that will hopefully make money. There you go. Going to buy an old laptop with 2.8 gigahertz CPU. Put a SAT on it or an SSD on it. I don't know. The issue is that Debian, Fedora, Windows, MX, and X. What I should charge on this one. I don't know, man. But the domain savings.pet will present users the lowest cost for the desired pet products. There you go. Okay, yeah, so if you are setting up that domain with like a drop shipping type thing, be warned right now, Google seems to be doing all outright assaults against companies doing drop shipping stuff. So be aware of that in your plan, but look it up a little bit. Is inflation still an issue over there in the U.S.? To be honest, I don't know. What are you feeding the kitty? What am I feeding the kitty? I'll be feeding the kitty Temptations at the end here, but. Oh, in fact, shouldn't we feed the kitty early? I thought we were feeding the kitty early now, weren't we? We were supposed to feed the kitty early. Let me go ahead and feed the kitty here. Let me do that, and then we'll get back to the comments. My apologies. I forgot the order of my own show. Here you go, buddy. Hey, kitty. We got kitty treats for you. We got kitty treats. Kitty, kitty. Want some kitty treats? Yeah, want some kitty treats? Oh. For the camera. Yeah. I completely forgot we're supposed to do the kitty treats before the comments. My fault there. My apologies. All right. Let's see. What time am I feeding the kitty? Yeah. Let's see. In my opinion, AI has use cases, but they are very limited. Yep. Hey, buddy. Are you gonna knock my light over? You gonna knock my light over? Are you? Kitty's back there. He's like, I'm going to knock that light over. Prices and taxes and premiums keep on going up insane. I suspect the data brokers fund the VPN companies you're paying to be spied on. That's possible. VPNs do give anonymity, but only if they're used correctly. They can, but not necessarily. It depends on the VPN company, how their protocols are set up and things like that. It can give it anonymity to the end user, like the end website, but not to the VPN company itself. No company should have financial credit records, just a matter of time. Yep. You can buy your own VPS using cryptocurrency and set that up as a VPN. I'm getting nervous there. I don't really want him to knock my light over. Those lights are becoming hard to find. uBlock Origin, Brave, Pi-hole, there you go. Use Menorah by VPS, set it up a VPN on that server, full control, yep. Why is it necessary to indicate race? I have my contacts in vCard format, use known contacts. Yep, there you go, that's the way to go. Thou shalt not lie. What am I lying about? Are you accusing me of smoking something? I don't know. I had a temp ban on Facebook, no explanation. I assumed it was because of RFK Jr. quote. I repeated and opposed. Why Mastodon logo with prohibited sign over it? Oh, yeah, because Fossilon banned it. So, screw them. See, though Fossilon never gave a specific reason. Yeah, Fossilon never gave a specific reason. He's just, there's not. They can be pretty fringe sometimes. Yeah, they are. People say they support free speech until they feel offended. Yeah. We support free speech. Accept any speech you have. Anything you say isn't free speech. That's just homophobic. You're megaphobic. Yeah, I'm just a megaphobe, guys. Just call me Switch to Linux, the megaphobe. While I'm going to bed, wake up and be tortured doing residential construction in Florida. Oh, sorry, man. My best to you. We should start supporting IPFS and start hosting our own stuff. Yep. Might as well put Fossilon on blast and get as much lols out as can. Oh, yeah, we did. That comment must have been made before I did that part. I want Debian to succeed. I really do. I really do want Debian to succeed. Oh, Lordy. Where am I at? Okay, there we are. Simply because their maintainers are woke AF, causing issues and getting rid of devs who don't want to walk their line. Yep. Waymo cars could be sent by the cops to the rioters, or the rioters could have ordered them for, or a mixer of different groups could have taken turns ordering the Waymo taxis. No, it was Google confirmed it was the rioters. I think Google knows who originated them. Of course, if they originated them, I really hope that Google actually prosecutes the people. That would be awesome. Yeah, this guy called a car into the middle of a riot and let it get blown up. There you go. Although that would be an interesting case, because can they prove that that exact guy is the one who actually did it? I don't know. Tom can't see Matrix. Quick party in the Matrix server. Oh, dear. Yeah. Party like it's $16.99, right? Yeah, live in the Amish paradise. I think that line wasn't that line $18.99? If you finish your chores and I finish mine, then tonight we're gonna party like it's $18.99. Is it, or is it $16.99? Maybe it is $16.99. I think you're right about that. Who subscribed to the Hyperland hype? I don't know. I use AI to debug my JavaScript codes. I'm Cinnamon all day long. Probably X11 on the Wayland session is enough for me. Let's see. Jebediah feeds the chickens and Jacob plows. Fool, I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks my mind is gone. That's right. I'm AI freak at my freak-offs. Okay, explain my efforts and duties here. Okay, War Thunder, I'm using Arch and GNOME. Anyone on GNOME recommend the extension Dash to Panel, integrates the top bar and Dash into one. There you go. All right. Switch Linux offering remote consultancy service to EU countries might be a good job option. There you go. And Amish with a tude. That's right. You know that's unheard of. Palantir and Microsoft have expanded their strategic partnership. Yeah. Why do we have data caps nowadays anyway? So that you have to pay more for all the advertisements that you see, of course. Admit I'm white and nerdy. Too much to bowl with the gangsters. That's right. Don't make fun of the Amish. High-tech insanity has made me on the verge of claiming to be Amish and giving up on the digital world. I might be with you there. Because I'm fat, isn't it? There you go. You know I'm fat. I'm fat. Come on, you know. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Big Bone. There you go. Class action pennies. When will these companies get hit up for real money? Yeah. Microsoft lawsuits should be settled and Apple favored courts and vice versa. There you go. I think some of these fines should add a 0 or 2. Watching on Garuda Mocha, slowly trying to ditch Windows. So far, a lot of things are working. Very good. Rich people think they can break the laws, do they? Yeah. Complete violation of national security. What are the NSA's thoughts on this? I don't know. Government will seize your mashed potatoes. It's a matter of time. Yep. Do I need to download all my emails before August? I mean, no, just make sure you can still get into your email client. Gates of Hell is turning his denizens' laptops and desktops into kiosks. You guys think Element Chat is better than Discord or anything? No, I was booted off of Discord for wrongthink too, which is really hilarious because I'm like fairly conservative. That one was, if I remember correctly, I think I actually shared the results of an actual public lawsuit with somebody on a private chat, and they nuked everything. Yep. Can't talk about actual lawsuits that actually went through the courts and were actually settled. Yep. That's what got me kicked off of Discord. It was during the COVID era, and it was about one of the vaccine companies. Prefer Discord style Matrix, so could be more familiar with Discord. Yep. Can't delete Element off my Android devices no matter what I do. Just delete. Yeah, and they have gone dystopian route, by the way, too. Chrome browser doesn't have privacy settings turned on after you first download it. Cookies and JavaScript, save passwords, so much more. Yeah. Hate how people think ChatGPT has all the answers when it doesn't. Yeah. Controlled by the police, no thanks to their business. What do? Guardian isn't nearly as bad as other outlets. They picked on Biden as much too. No, they didn't. Nope. No, they didn't. They spent the entirety of the Biden administration still dunking on Donald Trump. Yeah, they've been on my list of news sources to look at for a long time. They have been left-wing woke psychopaths for as long as I've watched them. They might have called out one or two weird things Biden has done, but no, they never reported on any of the brain-dead Biden moments. Still blamed Trump for everything all through the entirety of the Biden administration. Yep. Finally betrayed the creator. Go back. Let's see. What happened to AI and robots in the Amazon warehouse? Yeah, I mean, they just crossed their 1 millionth robot. So the diabetes Barbie and laugh my butt off. Just Barbie with a medical bag. Yeah. Can't wait for stage 3 lung cancer, Barbie. What kind of drugs are these people on now? The original thumbnail for the Not to Be article had a really fat, obese Barbie as the thumbnail picture. I wonder if, did they take that down or did we get, yeah, they must have taken it down. I'm going to look at their site and see if I can find, or did I copy the link wrong? Yeah, they apparently took it down. Huh. Wonder why they did that. Linux looking a whole lot better. So when you have the Linux knack, you never go back. Yep. Agree they'll answer that blasphemy when they stand before Jesus. Yeah, absolutely. 2 years on Linux now. Windows, don't miss it even a little bit. Getting better with the terminal, which is a massive shortcut. All the time I spend fixing and defending against Windows was wasted. Yeah. Didn't know about these Rumble strips. It's kind of awesome, to be honest. I've never heard about those before. 3 years being on Linux, can't even help people with Windows computers anymore. Doppler effect or anything? Maybe we can get the road strips to speak the gospel. There you go. Sounds like the key the rumble strips plays indicates your driving speed. Yeah. Tom took his hat off. My first thought was Sami Zayn from WWE. Uh-oh. That's just hot. What is it? It is 31C in here right now. Ugh, pretty warm. But I did buy me a nice new little USB fan, or it's like a battery powered / USB fan. So it runs about the whole day on low on its battery. So feed the beasts. Feed the beasts. I'm gonna step on you. I need to step on you, kitty. Someone said feed the beasts. I need to step on you. He's like, don't step on me. Feed me, Seymour. Show comes on with a preview of Zulus, miniature lion getting fed. RFJ Jr. is evil by ableist and very ableist view. Is very offended me deepest. Mastodon more like Wokaton. Yeah. Anyone willing to test a custom dev one with X Libre as the base system? Might work on that. Let me know if anyone's interested in testing it. Maybe. How big is it? How big is the download? I'm protected because I wear this aluminum hat. Yeah, I'm protected because I wear this hat, aluminum hat for you. Wear the hat that's foil and foil. Robots aren't waterproof. We can just hose them down. Yeah. Did I run out of comments? Wow, I ran out of comments on Zatubies. Innocently chaotic hamster. Yes. All right. Still using Mint XGUI 4. Greetings. Using Mint for 11 years now. Arch is the best. There you go. RFK. I think you're talking RFK Jr. Evil ableist, very ableist mindset. I don't know. Yeah. Appreciate your videos. Well, thank you, Chainsaw Cowboy. All right. I think we have gotten to the end of our comments. So I think we are going to go ahead and jump off here. And just a reminder, guys, no news next week. I will be at camp. If you are the praying type, I will be with a group of children in the middle of the woods. So we'll be doing all that. And it is our annual science camp where we teach the gospel and science studies over the course of the week. And then I have a week off and I go back to camp, but I'm in the kitchen that time. So I will probably, as long as I have time, I will do another pre-recorded news. I might have time for that. But we will see. So just a reminder, well, I will have, hopefully I will have a couple of videos. I was hoping to record 2 videos today. I got 1 video recorded and I didn't even get it edited yet. And I still have 2 more chapters of the audiobook to do. So I don't know, there may or may not be videos next week. We'll see how much I get done between now and then. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys live in a couple weeks. Otherwise, we'll release a couple videos here over the course of the next few days. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you all